If your blood runs orange and blue, this is the pod for you. You're listening to Orange and Blue Bloods, hosted by EJ Stewart and Tommy Beer. Let's get to it, man.
Knicks Cavs, 6 p.m. Saturday in Cleveland. So let's give you guys that update I mentioned on Julius Randle. So he is the key Knick whose game one status is up in the air right now. Jalen Brunson says his hand is good, ready to go. He can do whatever he needs to do. So no worries there. Randle has been recovering from a sprained ankle that he injured on March 29th against the Heat. Tom Thibodeau said this about Julius Randle's participation in practice and his likelihood of being able to play.
He did some, yeah, making steady progress. So just take it day to day.
Did he do a contact?
No.
When you say some, is he running like with?
He's doing some running, shooting, scripting, that sort of thing. He meets with medical every day, so when he's ready to go, he's ready to go. But good steady progress each day, a little bit better.
Is game one a possibility?
Well, game one is Saturday, so we'll see.
So Tibbs trying to keep it as close to the vest as possible there, to be expected, with this being the major storyline of this series right now. Since there have no games played, will Randle play? What is availability? How good is he doing? What I heard there, Tommy, I don't know how you felt like this, but I heard, seems to me almost like that whole re-evaluation thing kind of maybe kind of thrown out. Like, if he's already practicing, I assume he's been evaluated to at least practice. So I know the Knicks, when he first got injured, said he'll be reevaluated in 2 weeks, would set him up for that this Friday to be the day he gets reevaluated. So that was a lot more worrisome. He's saying, all right, he can't even touch a basketball or get on the court before Friday. How the hell is he going to play on a Saturday or Sunday? Now we know this game is going to be on Saturday. How the hell would he play on a Saturday, though? It's the playoffs. So, and this is where all bets are off. It almost sounds like, Tibbs saying he meets medical every day. So it almost sounds like that whole reevaluation thing is kind of not happening anymore. And he's now kind of day to day, I think, is something I heard Tibbs say also in this press conference. So how's your feel about Randle at this point, based on the little you heard from Tibbs and his ability to play on Saturday?
The little we heard from Tibbs was encouraging. The really good news and first bit of encouraging news was Sunday before the game, when there was a picture posted to Twitter of Randle sitting with his family, with his kids on his lap, and most importantly, no boot, no walking boot on that left ankle. Really good sign that he was able to shed the walking boot essentially a week after the initial injury. Because again, and then you saw him during the game. They showed him, I think he had some cool books on. The fact, because when you're even a little bit dinged up, and we saw with Jalen Brunson still wearing that soft cast hand, and anytime you're near the bench, that means you're within 3 feet of 6'7", 250-pound men running around, and a ball could get flung into your foot. A guy could fall and trip into the bench. The fact that Randle's walking around without a limp, and and was able to shed the walking boot, very good sign. And then we heard today, you can't really ask for much more than the fact that he was back on the court. No, he's not dunking. No, he's not sprinting. But again, the fact that he was clear, and it's non-contact stuff, but the fact that he's cleared for any game scripting, getting some shots up, walking on the floor, really good signs. As you mentioned, the initial diagnosis or the initial announcement the Knicks had made 2 Thursdays ago, where they reevaluated in 2 weeks. So it would actually be the 13th was the date that they would reevaluate. So that was Thursday. So sure, I'm sure they're going to do all this stuff. But yeah, again, to your point, they would not have let him get on the court if they thought there was a chance he could re-injure himself. Obviously, they're going to err on the side of caution. If he can get in a full practice on Friday, I don't expect. I'm sure they're going to list him as questionable, and probably list him as game time decision. I don't care if he.
That would be smart too. I think, regardless of whether he's healthy or not.
100%. If it wasn't for the gambling stuff and the need to, be somewhat honest, they would probably list him doubtful up until 35 minutes before game time.
Yeah.
That's what Red Auerbach would have done. That's what Riley would.
Yeah.
That's just they didn't have all these these highfalutin accuracy, 75% chance he's going to play, yada yada yada. So don't read anything into that. When the Knicks list them questionable on the first. The very good news will be if he's able to get cleared for practice, and then even then they'll tone it down. I think certainly he's at the very least trending in the right direction. And I would say there's I wouldn't say a much greater likelihood. I will say there's a better than 50% chance, I feel, as of we're recording this on Tuesday afternoon, that he suits up for game 1 Saturday evening. Certainly a lot could change. He could have swelling after he gets a little bit increased work. He could tweak it in practice on Wednesday. He could tweak it in practice on shoot around Saturday morning. There's no guarantee. You're dealing with an ankle injury. These things can have a tendency to linger. The things we know about Randle: he's a tank. He's durable. He's competitive. There's any chance for him to be out there, he's going to be out there. So I think certainly the last 2 days have been nothing but good news on that front. If we're reading the tea leaves.
Yeah. Hearing this is as good as you can expect, as you mentioned, Tommy. I mean, that ankle injury, when he went down, it did not look good. I was very concerned, and that's why we talked about it in the last podcast. I said, look, I'm kind of waiting for that chance for Randle maybe to be out, and maybe this is Obi Toppin time in game 1 and 2 of the playoffs, and Nick may have to steal one without Randle. And hearing Thibodeau today, hearing that Randle was practicing, that he was running, if he's doing all that, then I would at this point be shocked if he does not play. Now, bad things can happen. Let's knock on wood that they don't. Obviously, between now and Saturday, but they're gone this far to allow him to get back on the court to practice game script with the team. Then I think that means that he's probably going to be good to go, barring any major setbacks, which is great news, because I think that as important and as great as it's been to see Obi Toppin's, emergence in the last 4 or 5 games of the regular season, something we saw last season as well. I think the Knicks, in order to win the series, are going to need Randle at some point to be 100% or close to 100%. I'm not saying that. Like I said, I thought they could have started the series. Maybe he sits the first 2 games, and maybe they still win. I think that could have happened. But they couldn't play a whole 7-game series, I think, without Julius Randle. That would have been probably too tall a task, just like it would have been too tall to ask Jalen Brunson to carry Dallas for an entire series against Utah last season. Luka came back in that series, and that helped Dallas get over the hump, while Jalen kind of held him down for the first 2 or 3 games. So I think that the fact that Randle's headed this way is great, because they're going to need him to beat this Cavs team, as we mentioned. Maybe the best defensive team in the NBA.
No question. And the other thing to keep in mind, regardless of how you feel about Randle and Obi and how Toppin should have got more minutes, or maybe they should have traded Randle, and all those are valid arguments we can have.
Yep.
The Knicks can't adjust on it's very tall order to beat the Cavs team when you've been practicing together as a 6 month as one collective unit, and now all of a sudden say, okay, we're no longer a passing team, we're going to run the ball.
You don't want to go to your plan C in the playoffs.
Exactly. No matter how talented that plan C and how much upside and to try to figure that out on the fly is very, very difficult. So those are all things to keep in mind. And again, as even unless you're a diehard crazy Cavs fan, if you're an NBA fan, even if you like the Cavs, you want to see these 2 teams clash at full strength. This is arguably the most attractive first round matchup. This obviously is a Knicks podcast, but subjectively speaking, I mean, there's some really intriguing West, out in the West, but in terms of the East, there's not that much, series you can get really jazzed about. I think you ask like 9 out of 10 fans are going to tell you that if the series not involving their team, this is the series that they want to watch.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people don't really expect much from the Nets in that Sixers series. I think there are people interested in who wins this play-in between the Celtics, the Heat and the Hawks, because that Celtics matchup. I think intriguing. I don't know if I'd be worried about the Celtics fan, but I think either one of those teams, whoever wins, that's an intriguing first round matchup. I think whoever plays the Bucks is, getting F5'd out of the playoffs. To take a wrestling reference or Brock Lesnar.
The one thing though is if Middleton's not healthy.
Well, that is true.
The Bucks can still
Yeah.
should definitely.
I mean,
you know,
they've been fine so much this season without him. It's like they look serious. Like they look really scary right now. So,
but I think to get out of that second and third round,
that's where it has to get tricky. Yeah, to make the run that they expect to make, which is to the NBA Finals.
Yes,
you're right. Middleton is going to be super important. Not having them last season probably cost them another shot at going to the NBA Finals. Quite frankly,
I think they win the championship.
Celtics. Yeah, I don't know. I don't think the Celtics beat them if Middleton plays. So, so we'll see what happens with Randle, man. But it all looks like all signs are a go in terms of, at least for now, him being able to play in game one. So let's wrap it up.